225,000 pages of printer's paper imported out of France to feed 4 London presses for 2 years, printing up 1,000 copies of Shakespeare's first folio. Who paid? Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Fred Faulkes. I'm a retired librarian, and for the past 25 years I've done a deep dive into Shakespeare's biography. I've learned a few things over the course which I would like to share with you in these podcasts. It was 400 years ago this year that Master William Shakespeare's comedies, histories and tragedies was first published. And so on this 400th anniversary, I want to do continue doing a bit of a deep dive into Shakespeare's first folio. In episode 2, we considered the name of Shakespeare and discovered a few unusual things about that. And in episode 3, we looked at the face that appears on the frontispiece, on the title page, and discovered a few interesting things about that. And so today I want to continue down the page and consider the work of the printers. We find 2 of them at the bottom of the title page, the names of Isaac Jaggard and Ed Blount. And when we turn to the back of the volume, 2 more names appear, L. Smithwick and W. Aspley. It appears, therefore, there were 4 printers at work for the 2 years it took to print the volume up. Now, what I would like to suggest to you today are some guidelines as to how much this actually all cost, because I hear a lot of teachers and other commentators say that, it was probably a consortium of printers and actors who got together and, as a service to the dead, printed up this volume. The cost of producing the volume would have been well beyond the means of individual actors or printers, certainly. And even for consortiums of people, it would have been quite an onerous cost. Let me just tell you my thinking here. To print up 900 pages, you need 225 sheets of printer's paper, and each sheet will be folded in 2, so you get a 1-page, 2-page, 3-page, 4-page. So each sheet gives you 4 pages. So to get to 900 pages, you need 225 sheets. Now, to print up 1,000 copies, you would need 225,000 sheets. Now, the cost of paper at this time was 6 pence per quire. Now, in a quire, you got 25 sheets. And so you would need, let me see, a total of 9,000 quires to print up the 1,000 copies. Now, at 6p per quire, that comes out to about 54,000 pence, or 220 pounds. Now, I want you to remember that at this time, money was worth way more than it is today. The average London worker earned £10 in a year. So 220 pounds would represent the labours of 22 people for the entire year. So this is already quite a sum of money. But when we look at the printing shops with possibly 5 personnel per shop and 4 presses, that's 20 people. Now, they made a little better than average, so let's give them £15 in the year. So it means you need £300 in wages per year, or £600 for the 2 years. So £600 plus £220, already we're at £820, and we haven't even paid the engraver yet, nor the editors or anyone else who may have been involved in the project. So when we consider that, this sum of money is reaching up to about £1,000, and I don't think any consortium of printers or actors was going to come up with £1,000, even if they, wished to do Shakespeare all the honor and service they could. And especially when we consider, too, that there was more going on than just the folio, because as we touched on last time when we looked at the face, there was a monument being prepared for installation at Stratford. So we're talking of an investment of well over £1,000. Now, if not the printers, if not the actors, then who? Well, when we turn the page, we discover the two extraordinary characters that the volume is dedicated to. This cost would have been, no problem at all. William Herbert, the Earl of Pembroke, and his younger brother Philip Herbert, who was the Earl of Montgomery, they had an income well in excess of £50,000 in a year. I mean, they, between them, earned about the equivalent of 5,000 people. So that gives you a sense of just how well off they were. William Herbert had quite good literary interests. His brother Philip wasn't interested in literature at all, but both have a very interesting Shakespearean history that deserves to be explored. They came by their literary inheritance, as it were, quite honestly. Their uncle was Sir Philip Sidney, and Uncle Sir Philip Sidney wrote his first Arcadia at the same time and place as William Herbert's birth. So in other words, while Philip's sister Mary was giving birth to William Herbert, Sir Philip Sidney was writing the Arcadia. So the two events kind of went together, and in family folklore and mythology, this was a very important event. Now, William was about 12 and his brother 8 when William Shakespeare of Stratford came and joined their parents' troupe of players. This was in around the spring-summer of 1592. Now, although the troupe carried their father's name, the Earl of Pembroke, it was their mother Mary who took the real interest in the day-to-day affairs of the players. And we have an actor's will from August 1592 from an actor called Simon Jewell. And this proves how close she was to the players on that kind of day-to-day level. Now, some half dozen of the plays that appear in the first folio first originated in these Earl of Pembroke years. And after the playhouse moved from Shoreditch to the south bank of the Thames, it came to sit conveniently just across the water from the Pembroke's London home of Baynard Castle. Now, in his early manhood, William Herbert got into a bit of trouble when he impregnated one of Her Majesty's maids of honor, kind of dishonored the maid of honor, and he got into some hot water. Anyway, this seems to be the subject of the first 18 or so of Shakespeare's sonnets. And it appears that the sonnets are even dedicated to him, if indeed Master W.H. is he, William Herbert. Now, after William Herbert became Lord Chamberlain, in 1616, he devoted quite a lot of his energy to getting back the copyrights to certain of the Shakespeare plays. I don't know if you remember the screenshot from, or the still from last time, or actually episode 2, where I showed you all the things that, all the books that were published using the name William Shakespeare. Whenever a printer got hold of a play, that the copyright to that work was his. That's how copyright worked in this time. You, the creator, had no control. If your work slipped into the hands of a printer, that was it. You lost your copyright. Anyway, so William Herbert, as soon as he became Lord Chamberlain, spent quite a lot of time just gathering back the copyrights to various of the Shakespeare plays. And it seems that this was kind of all in preparation for the publishing of the first folio that began in 1621 and would continue into 1623 before it was ready for market. So in the long view, we see that the name Pembroke forms like the bookends of the Shakespeare Chronicle. They are heavily involved at the beginning and at the end. And as we're going to discover as we go along, they were really involved all along, even afterwards. So next time, I want to have a look at Ben Jonson. Now, here is an actual Pembroke lifer who took a leading role in the creation of the, or at least in the production of the first folio. And I want to discern what his contributions were to the first folio. If you want to react to anything I say, please join the discussion on Twitter. I welcome any remarks as long as they are respectful. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time when we're going to have a look at Ben Jonson. Thank you. Till then.